What if I told you that some of the most powerful men in American history barely changed the country at all, while others reshaped it so deeply that we still live in their shadow today? So I did something a little crazy. I went through every single U.S. president, all 46 presidencies from George Washington to today, and ranked them by one thing only: leadership impact. Not personality. Not who you voted for. Not even who was nice. Just impact. The size of the mark they left on America. Some presidents quietly kept the ship steady. Others steered it straight into a storm. And a few completely rebuilt the ship mid-ocean. Let's get into it. Before we start, this isn't about political teams. It's about scale of change. Leadership impact means, did they fundamentally change America? Did they lead during crisis? Did their decisions reshape the economy, government, or world order? Are we still living with their consequences? We'll go tier by tier, from lowest measurable impact, all the way to the presidents who changed the course of history. These presidents mostly maintained stability. They weren't disasters, but they didn't transform the country either. William Henry Harrison famously served only 31 days before dying in office. Leadership impact? Extremely limited. James Garfield, assassinated after just a few months. His presidency was too short to leave a deep mark. Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, John Tyler, Zachary Taylor, Warren G. Harding. These leaders governed during tense times, but failed to prevent deeper national divisions, especially over slavery. In hindsight, their inability to address growing fractures pushed the country closer to civil war. Harding, meanwhile, is remembered more for corruption scandals than policy achievements. Impact? Present, but mostly in what they failed to stop. These presidents made meaningful decisions, but didn't radically reshape America. Gerald Ford took office after Nixon resigned. His biggest act? Pardoning Nixon to calm the country. Controversial at the time, stabilizing in hindsight. Jimmy Carter focused on human rights and energy reform. Brokered the Camp David Accords, a huge diplomatic win. But domestically, inflation and economic struggles overshadowed his presidency. George H.W. Bush led during the end of the Cold War and the Gulf War. His steady international leadership helped manage a massive global transition. John Adams, second president, helped establish early executive authority, but struggled politically. And James Monroe oversaw the era of good feelings and issued the Monroe Doctrine, a long-lasting foreign policy statement. Impactful, but not transformative on a domestic scale. Now we're entering presidents who changed major systems: economics, civil rights, or America's global role. Theodore Roosevelt, the original trust buster. He took on big corporations, expanded national parks, and made the presidency a more powerful, visible office. He basically said, the government should protect ordinary Americans. That mindset changed federal power forever. Woodrow Wilson led during World War I, created the Federal Reserve, pushed for the League of Nations. His global vision was ambitious, even if America didn't fully follow it at the time. Ronald Reagan massively reshaped conservative politics. Tax cuts, deregulation, strong anti-Soviet stance. Whether you love or dislike his policies, modern American politics still operates in the Reagan era. Barack Obama led during the Great Recession, passed the Affordable Care Act, oversaw the mission that killed Osama bin Laden. His presidency reshaped healthcare and cultural politics in lasting ways. High-impact crisis leaders. These presidents governed during defining national crises. Harry S. Truman took office when FDR died and immediately faced the end of World War II. Authorized the atomic bomb. Began the Cold War containment strategy. Desegregated the armed forces. Massive global and domestic impact. Dwight D. Eisenhower, World War II Supreme Commander turned president. Created the interstate highway system, which literally reshaped how Americans live and travel. Managed Cold War tensions carefully. Infrastructure alone puts him high. Lyndon B. Johnson, Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, Great Society programs. Also escalated the Vietnam War. His impact on civil rights legislation is enormous, still shaping America today. Richard Nixon opened relations with China, created the EPA, ended the draft. Then Watergate happened. His foreign policy achievements were historic, but so was the scandal that forced him out. Transformational leaders. These presidents fundamentally changed the nation's direction. George Washington. He didn't just lead a country. He invented the presidency, set the two-term precedent, refused monarchy, established peaceful transfer of power. Without him, the entire American experiment might have collapsed. Thomas Jefferson, Louisiana Purchase, doubled the size of the country. That single decision changed the map of North America forever. Franklin D. Roosevelt, for terms. The New Deal, led through the Great Depression and most of World War II. He expanded federal power more than any president in history. Modern government? It largely starts here. Abraham Lincoln, preserved the Union, issued the Emancipation Proclamation, led during the Civil War, America's greatest internal crisis. Without Lincoln, the United States might not exist in its current form. That's maximum leadership impact. What about recent presidents? It's harder to judge recent presidencies because we're still living in their consequences. Leaders like Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, all had significant influence, especially Bush post 9/11 and the War on Terror and Trump's reshaping of party politics. But historical ranking requires time and distance. Impact is clearer decades later. Final thoughts. Here's what surprised me the most. The presidents with the highest leadership impact weren't always the most popular in their time. And some of the quietest presidents? They governed during calm waters, which sometimes means history remembers you less. Leadership impact isn't about being perfect. It's about how much the country changed because you were there. So here's the real question. If we did this ranking again 30 years from now, who moves up? Who falls? Let me know your top 3 in the comments. Because no matter where you stand politically, one thing is clear. The presidency doesn't just fill a seat. It shapes a nation.